What I would say is this. Channing Crowder, super talented. Fred Taylor. I don't have anything good to say about Fred Taylor.
No, don't say that.
And so you got that. And then Ryan Clark. Okay.
What's up, guys? So this is the second video I'm making on this podcast drama between the I Am Athlete and the Pivot Podcast. Yesterday's video was in response to the Fred Taylor comments to Brandon Marshall, where he called his former co-host a coward and went off on him for attacking Shannon Sharpe and calling him whack. So the I Am Athlete podcast started during the pandemic between, I believe, Brandon Marshall, Fred Taylor, Channing Crowder, and Chad Johnson, who left due to a busy schedule. But I also think Reggie Wayne was one of the founders, but not too sure what happened to him. If anyone knows, let me know in the comments section below. That being said, the four didn't have any proper paperwork when they began the podcast, and that's when things went sideways because the show took off from the get-go. Initially, it was understood that each host would obtain 25% ownership. However, according to Brandon Marshall, he was pretty much doing all the work outside of the show, like meeting potential business partners and sponsors, and he was the only one who invested in the business financially. I don't even know how that makes any sense. Sounds kind of retarded to me. Only one guy out of the four is putting all the money in. What if the podcast fails? What happens then? That's why you need the paperwork up front. Doesn't matter if it's your friends. Anyways, when I'm reading the comments on these podcasts, it seems like the public perception is that Brandon Marshall did everyone dirty. Apparently he was a control freak and also has a history with mental health issues that I saw a lot of people bring up. But that being said, at the end of the day, there's always three sides to a story. His side, their side, and the truth. So this is a clip from Cam Newton's podcast where he had Brandon on the show and they discussed all the drama surrounding this beef.
And so you got that. And then Ryan Clark. Okay. So, they are super talented and we came together on a vision, and when it came to it, they saw an opportunity where they could make more money doing what they're doing, taking the blueprint and doing what they're doing. And they're doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
You know, like ideally, like the vision that I had when I talked about cigars and cars and Channing Crowder's outdoor show, whatever it was, that the pivot was supposed to be there. Like Ryan Clark, why I did this to Ryan Clark like that. For a year, I was talking to Ryan Clark about his podcast that he doesn't have time to do that no more because he got a lot of motion. He's doing a lot of things right now. Mm-hmm. But he had a podcast and I'm like, yo, bro, that could be on I Am Athlete. Do you own that or do ESPN own that? I own that. He was thinking about even opening up House of Athlete in Arizona, right? So we're having these conversations for a year. When I got the announcement, I heard the announcement that, you know, they're going to go left and doing a pivot. Ryan Clark called me 10 minutes later, like, yo, bro, you know, I never told this part of the story, but like, yo, bro, I've been praying about this. My wife said this and that because our relationship, but like, I try to stay out of it, but I'm going to go do this with the pivot, blah, 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 blah. But for a year, I'm hitting you up like, yo, bro, like, bring your podcast to I Am Athlete. You coming to me about taking House of Athlete to Arizona, to Phoenix. I put you on I Am Athlete, right? Not saying that Ryan Clark is Ryan Clark, right? So I'm not saying like I started, you know what I mean? I think he's talented. A little corny, but talented. Bro, you said it's Funky Friday, bro.
Keep it funky.
Okay, but cut that. Maybe not.
No, we're not gonna cut it. We're gonna keep it running.
So Ryan Clark, for the most part, has stayed out of this drama. He linked up with Channing and Fred, but for over a year, he hasn't spoken about this issue between his new co-host and Brandon. He finally broke his silence only after Brandon Marshall called him corny, so he said what he said on his Pivot podcast while also tweeted this out, which I'll read to you and then play the video. I've stayed away from the I Am Athlete conversations because they weren't mine to have. I even let falsehood stand in order to take the high road. I felt there was enough space for both of us. Brandon, I let you lie on my name because your words don't affect me. Let's be clear though, I've looked you in your eyes every single time I've seen you. I approached you like a man. I showed you the respect our previous relationship made me feel you deserved until you threw your rock. Mo knows can attest. No need to address you calling me corny. The shows I host, the respect my work brings, and love from those who support me are what I focus on. Still, you and I know who's on the right side of ascension right now. We are going to keep doing us, and I pray you find your way, as I told you on the phone when I called you over a year and a half ago. We can both win.
What I do know is when he wanted to be the second or third person to get a contract to do TV while he played, he came to the first one. And I had that conversation with him. And when we started and we got together, you know, I told y'all very early, I was like, look, you know, we still have a working relationship. Mo Wells, who's no longer with him because of some of the same bad business practices, was there. I was gonna go train the DBs. I said, so I would like to tell him. We were still working on our business end, and out of respect for my new colleagues, my new friends, my new partners, my new teammates, I said, I'll tell him when it's time. When it got to that time, I called him, he didn't answer. I called back, left a message, news breaks, whatever, we finally speak. And when we spoke, like I was very candid with him. You haven't done anything to me. The business practices or what you have with my 3 new partners is the business practices you have with them. Right. Does our relationship need to change? You know, and he said, you know, I just need to gather my thoughts. I'm kind of taken back right now, whatever. I said, I understand that. This is a lot, no problem. And so from there, you know, he kind of tells me he's hurt and all those things. I said, I understand. I was like, look, I'm still supposed to come down and train the DBs at House of Athlete. Do I need to find you somebody else? Because I don't want to leave those young men hanging. Mm-hmm. I think it was the Super Bowl in LA.
Yep.
You guys are splitting to go one way. I was heading back to another spot. So I was walking away and Alicia was close. And obviously at this point, she didn't really want to be face to face with him, but that was Alicia. And I understood that Alicia and he had whatever, but I didn't, right? And so this was one of the lies he told on me. He said I walked by him. I ain't walking by no fucking body.
I watched you dap him.
But so I walk up to him and I look him in his eye and I shake his hand. Because to me, there's an opportunity to tell me we are no longer cool or we have a problem. Whatever it is, I'm comfortable with it, but I want to talk about it like a man because, man, we are grown adults with children. We can't walk around beefing. We can't walk around fighting. Let's walk around with an understanding of how we'll move around each other so everybody's respectful, or at least everyone's aware. Walk up to him, shake his hand, I think everything's good. So for weeks, I'm on Zoom calls teaching these DBs. I don't have time for Zoom calls to not be getting paid for them, but with an understanding we had with him and the understanding I had with Mo, I do that. Then it's time for me to go down and train him, and he sends his assistant down, doesn't come down himself, doesn't call me to tell Mo that he doesn't want me in the building, which is fine, but I gave you that opportunity before. So now, you've let me know indirectly, passive aggressively, that we have an issue. Cool. Even after that, man, every time he would say something about me or his new partners would say something about me, I'd take the high road because I'm winning.
Right.
He ain't talking about you if this sucks.
Bingo.
He ain't talking about you if this ain't good. It's hard to have to admit that it's phenomenal. It's hard to have to admit that this was my vision for what I was doing, but I'm not a good enough person to get it there.
Drop the damn ball.
And the thing is this, in my imperfection, I got grace for him. I said from the beginning, I think we both should have the opportunity to win.